Hello. This is Ben from Life in 360. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shoot a virtual tour of any location with any 360 camera. And not only that, but how to host your virtual tour on Google Street View. So next time you have a paying client, you'll be able to say, hey, we're going to put this on Google Street View, and your customers will be able to walk in straight off the street into your business and get a full 360 view of your business. This will be a massive value add and mean you can charge a little bit more for all of your future jobs.
This B-roll section is being interrupted to tell you to check out my previous Cupix video if you want to learn the basics of shooting a virtual tour. This video is going to focus more on the software side of things, so if you want the basics of shooting, check out that video. Now, back to the montage.
So now that we have our virtual tour shot, I want to show you guys 10 awesome features you may not know of inside the Cupix editor. These things are going to take your virtual tours to the next level, and I think you're going to get a lot of value from them. Before we get started, one of the most common questions I get about Cupix is,
Dear Mr. Ben, why does Cupix lower the resolution of my virtual tours? They look all soft and blurry. Why?
So Cupix doesn't actually lower the resolution. Your files stay the exact same resolution as when you shot them, but to preview them and edit them, Cupix changes the resolution to either low or standard, depending on how fast your internet is. This is for ease of workflow, so you can get your virtual tour edited with minimal hassle. You can always change it to high, but essentially regardless of what resolution you use during the editing, it will always end up high resolution because Cupix uses the original photos that you shot.
Okay, fine. Now, on with the show.
Yes, sir. So the first point I want to talk about that's awesome about Cupix is auto-leveling photos. That's right, you can shoot your photos on an angle, you can totally mess it up, as I most definitely did with my tour. If you look at some of these sample photos, the horizons are good, but they're not excellent. You can see a bit of up and down on that horizon line. It doesn't matter though, because Cupix fixes everything. It's got an algorithm that will fix your horizons automatically. All you need to do is upload, and Cupix will take care of the rest. So if the location you're shooting has multiple levels, you can tell Cupix this when you upload by creating separate sections. Depending on how many you have, I have 2 here. You want to upload them by section, and you want to divide your photos up depending on which level they're on. Once those are uploaded, Cupix will take a few minutes or a few hours to generate your tour depending on how big it is. This is what it looks like when the tour is uploaded and ready to edit. I have my bottom level and my top level, and you can see the panos in each. They all look good. I've edited these in Adobe Camera Raw, so I'm really happy with the photos, but connectivity is a completely different issue. So when I navigate to the layout tab, here we have Cupix's prediction of where everything goes, and it's done a really good job. It's not totally connected, however, and this is something we will need to fix. So I just checked and the ground floor is properly connected. However, on the top floor, we will need to reconnect this over here. And the way we do this is firstly selecting this section that is out of place, and sometimes you will get individual photos that are out of place, and I'll show you how to fix those in just a minute. But firstly, with our section here, we need to flip that around and get that up here. So this pivot point here, we want to put that around there because we'll need to bring that up here, and we want to pivot this entire section. So now we just click and drag our arrows, and voila. You'll want to make sure all the lines are perfectly straight. On the right hand side, you can see rotate is at minus 180 degrees. which means our lines are going to be more or less straight. So now I'm just going to drag this into position. I think it was roughly about here. When I zoom out, that is looking more or less accurate to what the actual floor plan looks like. Now we need to connect these two and tell Cupix that this is one continuous level. We do this by right-clicking one of the markers that we want to connect, and we go Edit Connectivity. And we want to tell it to connect to this one here. So you do that just by clicking on it. You can do it on the left or the right, but you'll see here that it's added a line just in there, which means these 2 points are now connected. Whenever you hover over a point, you can see what it's connected to. So you can see that's connected to those 3, that's connected to those 2, and so on and so forth. However, these 2 aren't connected. Because I'm still in the edit connectivity mode, all I need to do is press on that and see how I just added that line there on the right hand side. That means these 2 are now connected. Once you're happy, just right click and go exit. Now when we look on the right hand side, you'll see the entire tour all the way down the hallway, which was previously disconnected, is now connected. We have 2 more photos here that weren't connected properly. Let's take a look at them. So we have one inside the little room, which I know goes about there. So what we do is we right click this and we go select enclosing section. And now we just want to move that into place. I think that was roughly about here. Let's zoom in nice and close. And that looks about right. So now we want to right click and go lock position. And when we right click again, we can edit connectivity. And we want to connect that up to this one, to this one. Basically, with every single point, Cupix will show you what it has automatically connected to. And if you want it to be connected to other points, you can do that. So if my viewer is looking from this point, I want to give them 3 options. I'll give them the option to move there, to move there, and to move there. That's it. I don't want them to go into the hallway. I don't want them to go downstairs. I just only want them to have those 3 options. So when we navigate to each individual point, we can see exactly which other points are connected to that. And I think that's too many there. I don't want it connected to this one up here. So all you do is edit connectivity, and I'm going to click on that, and that is just remove that connection point, because I don't want people taking 2 steps. I only want them taking 1 step. And again, right click, exit. When you're happy with your connectivity, you want to right click and go lock position. That just means the entire section isn't going to move when we click and drag that. Cupix now knows that this is where it should be. One thing you want to be careful about is which direction your photo is facing. While it seems perfectly fine on the left hand side, when we look over here within the 360 photo, this marker, which is supposed to be there, is in the wrong direction. It should be there. So we need to reorient our photo 90 degrees so this marker ends up over here. And you do that by selecting enclosing section, and it's just as simple as rotating like that. So there you go, that's how you reconnect sections and individual points. The next thing you can control within Cupix is your marker height. By default, you'll find that it will probably place the marker around about the height that the camera took the photo, which is probably going to be around eye level, and that's not really good for navigation. We want them flat on the floor so we can click on the floor and we get a clear viewpoint of what's in front of us. You can adjust this by hitting lock position, and now on this section, we can affect all the markers. So we want to drag them down so they look like they're flat on the floor. I think 1.5 meters is about right. Those look like they are on the floor. Once you're happy, press lock position again and they'll be locked in place. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is remove points. When you actually shoot your virtual tour, it's a good idea to get as many points as you can so you can get a really accurate floor plan, and it just makes it easier for doing stuff like 3D mapping, adding features within the room. However, when you're watching the tour back, and as you can see in this hallway, there's a new point every few steps. It's just not necessary. You don't need to take such short steps. It should be basically every 2. Because every 2 it's actually revealing something new. Every 1 step it isn't really. So it's really just as simple on our floor plan as right clicking and going hide pano. So I'm going to hide every second pano. So when people are watching this back, they don't have to click 6,000 times to get down this hallway. It'll be half of that, only 3,000. but it will make a difference. Think about the end user experience. It's all about getting the balance right between showing enough detail of the space and showing too much. You don't want to show too much. Just show as much as is necessary. In the more interesting rooms, definitely have more points, but in bigger areas where viewpoints don't change that much between points, I would keep your points to a minimum. The next cool feature is the ability to add a blur. Cupix is pretty smart, and if you have people in your scene, it'll normally detect their faces and automatically blur them. Of course, you can adjust this to not do that if you actually want their faces in it. However, you can also do it manually. In a location like the one I've shot here, there aren't people. However, there may be details that the client might want blurred out. For example, let's say the titles on the doors. Maybe they say, hey, we don't want to give away that information in our tour, so could you please blur it? And that's where we'll want to use the interactive blur up here in our toolbar. So what you need to do to blur is hold down the Shift key and just drag your mouse. Simple as that. Now I'm going to unpress Shift, I'm going to move across, and I'm going to blur this title too. Now I'm going to show you how to add a logo to the nadir, and the nadir is the bottommost point of the image. So if you have a tripod that you want to cover up, or you just want to put your client's logo in there, you can do that within Cupix. And the way to do that is we're going to switch from the layout over to the publisher. To add your own custom logo, you want to choose Customize Player, and we're going to go Show Nadir Photo. I haven't put anything in here yet as my logo, so I'm going to do that now, and you can do that in Settings, and it'll take us automatically to our player settings. And here we go. Here's Nadir Photo. So I want to replace this Cupix logo with the Life in 360 logo, so I'm going to do that now. Now I'm going to go down to Update. Now when we return to the publisher, the logo hasn't been added, but if you go to the review section, you'll see that the logo has been put in place. As we navigate around, it follows us, and that is looking great. Next, we're going to take a look at how we deal with stairs. So when you first upload your virtual tour to Cupix, you need to make the decision, do I want to include stairs in the actual tour and have my audience walk up them? Or would I rather they just went from bottom level to top level, or to your third, fourth, fifth level, and so on with one click of a button? If you do want them to manually walk up the stairs, you'll need to upload the entire tour as one single section. So here you can see I've re-uploaded as one single section, just the bottom level now. However, that still does cover 2 levels. You'll see when we walk up the stairs here, everything is connected as it should be, and we're still on the same level. So here is our level menu, and you'll see there's only one. It's just the bottom level, even though we're on the top level. But this essentially means we can navigate the stairs. However, if stairs aren't really important and you would rather have the feature of having your audience teleport from level to level, which I think is a better option because stairs are boring. Like, this doesn't really add anything to the tour. What I want to focus on are the cool rooms within this venue, which is where using hotspots comes in. A really simple way to navigate between levels is using the section selector on the right hand side of the publisher. And using this, we can create 2 sections, ground floor, top floor. Then when a viewer is walking around the space, they'll have the option, there'll be a box in the bottom left corner that will allow them to change between the 2 levels. However, we need to set default points that these 2 will transition between. So first I'm just going to add both of those. So I've got top floor and ground floor. As you can see here, it says current pano is the entry pano, which means when people are coming from the top level down, they're going to end up at this viewpoint. However, when we go up to the top floor, it takes us to this end room here, whereas I would rather they end up right at the top of the stairs there. So I need to navigate to that point and set a new entry pano. I want it to be this perspective, so I'm just going to press that button there. And now when I jump over to the review tab and I navigate between the 2 floors, which you can do in the bottom left hand corner here, go up to the top level, and there I am at the top of the stairs with the viewpoint I chose. When I go back down, same thing. Another super simple way to do this is using highlights. So if you have a few features in your building that you want to highlight, that you want essentially in the bookmarks tab for any viewers to be able to navigate to easily, you want to select highlights. I'm going to add a highlight here because I know people will want to see this photography studio as it's one of the main features of this building. There, I've given it a name and it is now in our highlight reel. This will save people navigating this endless hallway if they want to get straight to this room. I'm going to add another one here in the kitchen and a few more throughout the building. So essentially, no matter where people are in the tour, they can click on these highlights and instantly get to these spots. Another way of adding fast navigation points is inserting a hotspot. And you can do that by clicking this box here, going down to hotspot. And now you can choose exactly where you want this to be. So this is going to be an icon that we place on the wall or basically anywhere within your space that will allow people to essentially teleport from one point of your tour to another. So now we can choose an icon and there's a wide range of things depending on where you want to send people. I'm going to choose an arrow because I want to direct them up the stairs, and you can change the size of this. I'm going to make this roughly 1 meter so it's nice and visible, and you can change the orientation, direction, size and whatnot by just using the inbuilt controls here. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So now what we need to do is insert a hyperlink so this arrow knows exactly what point in the tour to take our viewers to, and this is my entry point from before. What I'm going to do is up here on the top right, we're going to copy the hyperlink to this exact spot. So I've copied that there, and now in my object properties, I still have the arrow selected. So I just go here and Command V, paste it, and we are done. Now when we go to our review tab, we just click the arrow and it takes us to the top of the stairs. Number 10 is one of the coolest features yet, and that's Google Street View integration, which means people browsing Google Street View, if they're walking along, they'll be able to walk straight into the building, and this tour will connect up with the street outside. And the way we do that is in the publisher on the right hand side, you want to select Google Street View and hit the plus icon. So now we need to find our location on the map. So I'm going to type it in. That's it. And Google has found it instantly. It is just here. So I'm going to go ahead, hit continue, and now you can see our building has shown up on the map. And now we need to rotate it and scale it so it's roughly where it sits on street level. I feel like that is about right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit continue and sign in with my Google account. Now you just hit continue, and now we hit that big old publish button, and it should be online on Google within 24 hours. I'm feeling generous, so I'm going to add one more point for you guys, and that's to do with color correction. Hey, guess what? You can color correct within Cupix. Here you can see we've got options to adjust the brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, gamma, and vibrance. Look, I would recommend you do color correction before you upload to Cupix, but if there's any last minute changes you need to make, once you see the tour uploaded and you see your photos all side by side and you feel like one or two don't quite flow with the rest of the photos, you can make these small adjustments here. Look, I wouldn't rely on it too heavily, but it's cool to know it's there because you can make some changes that will probably help you out. I'll put a link to my virtual tour for you guys down in the description if you want to check it out and see my masterpiece. I'll also put links to all of the gear I use to shoot this virtual tour in the description as well. Just FYI, Cupix do have their own YouTube channel, although it's pretty bare. I am going to try and encourage them to post more videos, but I'd suggest you check it out anyway. I'll put a link to that down in the description as well. There's also a Facebook group you should totally join. It's called the 3D and 360 Virtual Tour Photographers Network, and there's thousands of members in there that will be happy to answer your questions if you have any. They respond way faster than me. My inbox is crazy full right now. So if you want a fast response about anything Cupix or virtual tour related, join this group, ask in there, and you get a quick response. Also, the Cupix team hang out in here, so this is a good way to get in touch with them.
So how easy was that, guys? We did that in minutes, and we now have a product that we can offer to local businesses, and all you need is a 360 camera, a selfie stick, and a small tripod, and you can start earning money. It's never been easier to earn money as a Google Street View photographer. No question, it's a massive value add to any business to have an interactive virtual tour of their business premises. You need to think about the businesses in your local area and which ones would really benefit from having an in-depth immersive experience of their actual premises, and you need to contact them and say, hey, I'm a local Google Street View photographer. I'd love to come to your business and shoot a virtual tour, because Cupix makes it so easy. So make sure you get on it ASAP. All right, guys, until next time, keep capturing your world in 360. This has been Ben. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and hit that subscribe button.
Also, don't forget to press the like button down there if you like this video, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Okay, bye. bye.